how do you know that what you're looking at is real? Never used to be a question. You used to be able to see something and understand what you were looking at, or at least have a legitimate understanding that it was real as you figured it out. Now, with the rise of instant generated videos driven by AI, what you see may not be what you get, and it may not be reality at all. We're going to talk about what it means next up on Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. Good morning.
What's up, Reg?
I've had chai today, brother. I've got a little caffeine in my system.
How do you make it?
Getting in my car, driving to a store that makes chai.
Okay. Is it close to home?
So there's a spot not far from here that wife and I hit from time to time, and you know, she's an early morning person. I am not, but this morning I was up early and I went on her routine with her. So got chai, chilled with her before her day got started. So I am feeling a bit wired and energetic. So
yeah, I'll give you till about 11 a.m.
And I'm gonna pass out.
You pass out, man. But
What's
that's
good with you,
man. All is well. You know, I have started making my own coffee with an espresso machine, and I'm with you, man. I look forward to it every morning. My 2 cups. I use the
2 cups in the morning,
or
2 cups all day.
No, I don't drink anything beyond that. No coffee after my 2 cups.
But would you have them back to back in the morning?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Now, I get up early, so I say I spend about maybe a half hour on each cup.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a nice way, and I have some water with it.
Do you hit a wall? Do you feel the caffeine levels subside, and can you feel your energy levels change?
If I don't get enough sleep.
Okay.
The night before. But it kind of takes me through, around that 11 o'clock hour when it's time to work out. After that is when I hit a proverbial wall.
Okay.
But sometimes I just take a little nap, man. Chill out if I can. If I'm not busy.
That's a luxury.
An earned luxury, man. You know, what are you going to say, man? Couldn't do that in corporate America.
I mean, you could. It would not be, It might be career limiting.
We've seen it done. I have seen it done.
There was a time when there was nap culture. I think the Japanese started, and it was being heavily touted, like try to steal you a 15-minute midday under your desk type nap. And it was all the rage for a minute until somebody's boss walked in like, yo, what you doing?
I think in certain regions in Latin America, it's still stressed. But I don't know.
Like a fiesta type thing?
Mm-hmm. We're in a competitive world now, though, man, so I don't know.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. That's DJ. I'm Reg. It is fall, and we are excited. I'm excited about fall. As a good Midwestern kid, I like to change the colors and all the things. It's a lot going on in the world, man. And the other day was paying attention to the story about Sora. You up on this person? Sora, the new app from OpenAI that is basically text to video. You type in a prompt and it instantly creates a video to your prompt direction. And, it got me thinking about what is reality? Like, how do we, in a world where we can no longer trust what we see to really be true, what is reality and how does it impact us in the ways that, might minimize or mitigate or otherwise, impede our flourishing, our freedom, and our ability to discern what's really, really true. So I was fascinated by that. You and I kicked it around for a little bit, and Nikia as well. What you think, man? Like, you use AI from time to time. What you think about this one?
Yeah, and I'm not going to talk about the source that I use because I'm not trying to give anybody any unwarranted ad space. But I am a user. But I also realize the dangers, man, how deceptive things can be. So when you introduced this article to me, I was aware of the video creation aspect of AI, but not specifically Sora.
Okay.
And I am concerned about Sora, and not just from, trademark infringement and all that, but to your point, man, the creation of these false truths.
Yep.
Also, when we are able to mitigate the actual truth. So I've been in a situation before, Purse, where video mattered. My ability to record phenomena was I'll call it defense in a scenario, right?
Sure.
So now if that can be combated by someone with nefarious intentions, dude, it's not just creating a false, but you are now invalidating the actual truth.
Yes.
So, bruh, heck of an article. We'll dig into it because I think there are also connections to Microsoft and all that get really interesting.
Yep.
But I'm heavily concerned, and specifically around, for me, I know some folks are concerned about the ability to make money off of this. For me, it's security. It's the safety of us as Black folks, quite honestly. So that's where I get concerned now. Man, you figure out how to crop that watermark. It's your video against mine.
Yep.
So what about it causes concern in you specifically?
A lot of what you just said, right? Like if a picture is worth 1,000 words and a video is some manifestation of a moving picture, how many words is a video worth? I don't know. But if that video and that picture isn't real, what is the value of that? And so I worry, to your point, about the manipulation of the truth. And it's the intersection, man, of the combined impact of historical erasure, which we're watching, and fictional replacement, right? So we hate the history and the narrative of contemporary fact and eyewitness account. So we erase that and pull those stories out of schools. And at the same time, here are these tools that allow you to create your own version of a story. While, for the last, 15 years now, we've watched the rise of memes and how many of the memes are of Black folks. We've watched the rise of, a variety of digital blackface. This seems to be the next iteration of that, but the most powerful and impactful way to create a tool for bad intent, and we're going to feel it.
Exactly.
And it worries me as I watch the narrative change real time. Like we're in a world right now, right, where police cameras and body cams and all that technology was heavily invested in as a way to create justice and accountability. But the reality is, though, that's going to go away because you're just not going to know, and you're going to have skepticism at the front of the conversation because now I just don't believe anything I see. And if you can't trust your vision, if you can't trust your eyes, it's one thing to not trust the written word and be skeptical of what you read and who wrote it and consider the source. But, looking at an image, we all can look at the image like, okay, that's what that is. But no longer is it you're going to have any confidence in that. So it worries me in that regard. In addition to AI as a tool increasingly being normalized. Like we're all going to end up using it, right? Like Google search is going to give way to AI search, whatever your platform is. It's great that we can all have our phones and we can create videos and create movies and be our own directors and stars of our own shows. But creating fake videos and fake narratives and then putting weight against it is going to distort the conversation in ways that I'm concerned about how we discern. And, last thing I'll say is I think that folks who have lived in spaces where they're not mainstream, they're not controlling power, it has been our eye and our view from the outside the system that has helped shape the system. Like, it has helped reform the system because we can trust, like, y'all not seeing it clearly. A lot of that's being attacked and it's going to be watered down. So I'm worrying about overall the sense of discernment and what's real. And on younger and younger minds, man, that's just going to be really, really fascinating and sobering to see how it develops.
I mean, you said it, and the scale of this is alarming. I mean, I think the numbers are OpenAI founded, 2015 as a nonprofit, which is crazy.
Yep.
Thing got to 1 million users in 5 days. Come on, bro. That's crazy. 100 million users in 2 months. Mm-hmm. So what gets concerning is not simply AI. So now we're talking about OpenAI playing the shell game. What about the quote unquote black market that isn't governed and monitored around this? Once you learn that technology and you start to create these alternate sources of text to video technology, man, that's what we need to really watch out for. And ironically, man, the foundation of OpenAI was to be sort of this monitoring source for security and safety as it relates to AI, man.
Right.
But I'm telling you, man, so when I think about when you sent me this article, the first thing I thought about was your role as a historian. And I think you are the history as I am the social science. Not to say we don't appreciate the opposite, but I love hearing your take on how history repeats itself. And the fact that there's an attempt to hoodwink, specifically the black community around this kind of stuff, is alarming. Like we haven't seen this before. But we have to remain aware of this, which is why the sharing of these articles is so critically important, person, because our history is being written for us. Now our existence is going to be written for us, not just historically what happened and what we meant to the United States of America. And if you aren't alarmed by that, brother, you're living in an alternate world. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when I think about the implications, man, there are a lot of good things that come from AI.
Sure.
But when you got Tupac and Biggie in a samurai fight, man, and you know what's funny? I've had some buddies send me some things on Martin Luther King, some videos on Martin Luther King.
Don't even start.
What are you thinking? Like you really think that's cool? Like, what's next?
I saw him DJing at a party. He had a crunk cup in his hand. I was like, what is going on right now?
And these are all tests.
And that one actually is an interesting one because there is a conversation right now around, various sources, Hollywood in particular, trying to protect their IP, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just take Marvel characters and that type of thing. And they're protecting that. What's happening more and more is people who are no longer with us being kind of almost in a public domain kind of way, having their images manipulated, which is really, really crazy. And I saw the Dr. King one. I was like, see, the thing. But I want to go back to something you said. From a history perspective, there was a time in the 19th century, particularly late 1800s going into the turn of the century, where journalism was, a fist fight. Like these various publishers were telling whatever story they felt like telling just to sell papers, right? And you had this term, yellow journalism, talking about the things that, made them not necessarily mainstream press. Mm-hmm. And the stories that they told were wild, outlandish, and we rarely, as black folks, were seen in a good light. And it really led to the rise of black press.
Yeah.
Right? So you got these early, brothers and sisters, going back to Ida B. Wells and other folk, before her and of her time, becoming really committed to telling the story, not only from a black point of view, but what was really happening in the black community to push against the images of minstrelsy and all the other stereotypes coming post-Civil War. And the importance of the black press continued to grow to where black newspapers in particular, and then black radio afterwards, were critical components to how the word got spread, how we shared stories of liberation and challenge across the country and indeed around the globe. We've all seen in the last 50 years in particular, one by one, those black newspapers shutting down, those black radio stations being bought out by larger, non-black entities. We watch BET get bought by Viacom. And so it is a concerning trend as the black press voice declines, subsumed into mainstream voices watching black culture become youth culture, right? So thing that we know to be black, African American vernacular has become, oh, that's just youth culture. And we got, nah, that ain't over there. What you doing? Like the notion that you dapping people up and you using all these slang words that I know you didn't grow up with leads us to this point, man, in the acceleration of the distinctions of culture and the storytelling of how we share ways to get free is actively being challenged. And we're losing that muscle.
We're losing that muscle. And we're also entering to a space where if we aren't careful, the arenas that black folks can impart their wisdom become really few and far between. So right now we're seeing an influx of us in sports and having conversations around sports and podcasts. I'm seeing that fade. I'm seeing non-sports folks that don't look like us becoming the voice for sport in some key arenas. Or, I won't call out any specific names. But if we're not careful, we'll lose our footing in that as well. And then what? So what you then see, certain folks, the Stephen A. Smiths, et cetera, trying to now tap their way into politics through sport. And it's a really interesting phenomenon that to me is dangerous. Bro, we know your background.
Sure.
Stop.
Sure.
Stop. Be good at that. You've been quote unquote validated in that. Not true subject matter expert originally, but you've worked your way into that.
Sure.
So this is dangerous, man. Well, but I'm also curious because obviously there's two sides to the coin, Purse. Have you found AI to be beneficial in your journey? As of late?
I thought Allen Iverson was my favorite player, so he was. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong. That's the only
answer.
AI I recognize over here. I am still a Google search dude with the minus AI, so that I can get a clean search without AI. That's getting compromised. I have an account at one of the platforms where I will, from time to time, use it. I feel dirty every time I do, principally because more than anything else, it's the environmental concern that I have in terms of how much resource drain there is and how much that's going to be a not in my backyard issue, and it's going to end up in our communities. And much like the petroleum industry, there's going to be a knock-on effect that affects our health and well-being. So in that regard, I keep it to a minimum, and so I haven't really explored it. But when I do use it, I try to be the same dude I was when I would use Wikipedia, right? Like Wikipedia is not really a great source unless you use it right. Like the thing to me about Wikipedia, for example, is, it's open source, it's community, guidelines around how it gets populated. But the value of Wikipedia is all the bibliography. It's all the resources and the links at the bottom that allow you to go to source material and ignore some of the editorial. I think AI similarly can be used to quickly get to a source I want to get to. But beyond that, I'm concerned about it as a tool. So I don't use it really heavily. But I got a question, and I see Nakia just sent a question. I appreciate her asking this question, so I'll share it. Who do you think Sora is for? Who's the target audience?
The ignorant.
Ooh.
Those who spend the crux of their day seeking entertainment.
Ooh.
And hedonism. I think that's the target user.
Okay.
Other folks will embrace it, if not figure out how to monetize it. But I think it's for those who are easily entertained and are looking for the next comical high. And now they can become creators of their own high. So I'm making my own meth now. I'm not waiting on you to send me, right? Meet me around the corner. I got a lab.
Interesting.
So I don't know how, if that was clear, how I feel about it.
No. That's a fascinating.
Yeah.
And I get it. So let's double down on that. I am fascinating. So the flip side is in all of these spaces, and let's start with, I don't know, Black Twitter as an example. We typically end up at the vanguard,
Yeah.
right? At minimum, and even before Black Twitter, let's go back to television, right? Like we're heavy users of media. We go to movies at a higher per capita rate.
Well,
We watch TV because ultimately we are targeted consumers. At the same time, we are creative in a way that allows us to use these tools to our own ends and we transform them. Can you see a world where our creative content chops can co-opt the technology?
I do.
Okay.
I think there's always a way.
Okay.
My concern is that won't be illuminated or glorified for the average user. I think what will be is, look at this clown shit over here that I created. You see Martin Luther King, right, doing the Dougie and all that kind of stuff, right?
He's good at it too.
Come on, man. See, that's
Shoot it right into my veins. Shoot it right into my veins.
You know what, man? What I will say is I am not anti-AI. Like, I'm not that silly. I am specifically talking about the hoodwinking of, check this nonprofit out where we're going to help monitor AI. Oh, wait a minute. We can't fund that to the tune of X amount of dollars. We got to create a for-profit entity. Man, we ain't realized that. Stop. Stop it.
Yep.
And by the way, Microsoft is sort of the electric company to us, is what Microsoft is to OpenAI, right? We're going to energize, we're going to power that service.
Yep.
So it's all these harmless entanglements to me are really strategic attachments and ecosystems being created. So that's the danger. The upside, person, I do use AI. Again, I won't talk about the specific software system, but I use it to enhance and to efficiently create things that I know I have a direction and a vision for. So if I need a study guide for research that I've created, I have no problem using AI to create it.
Yep.
But I'm still going to review it. I'm not using it as the originator,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So I am not anti-AI, and that's not what I'm here to say, but that article fascinated me. And then I just went into a rabbit hole, man, about all the entanglements around it. So
I'm gonna read a reference just for the audience. The
Okay.
article that DJ was talking about is in the New York Times. It was probably 4 days ago now, and the title of the article is "AI video generators are now so good you can no longer trust your eyes." And there was a particular quote that I want to read just because it caught my attention. The arrival of Sora, along with similar AI-powered video generators released by Meta and Google this year, has major implications. The tech could represent the end of visual fact. The idea that video could serve as an objective record of reality as we know it. Society as a whole will have to treat videos with as much skepticism as people already do with words. And this is written by Brian Chen in the New York Times. You should check out the article. It is that thing of the skepticism around the end of visual fact that arrested me.
yeah,
And what it ultimately says to me, particularly in the context of how we talk about Mama We Made It, is the need to recommit to our ways of connecting.
yeah,
Right. And so we know the notion of what community looks like, what's the value of interpersonal connection, quite frankly, what's the value of in-person connection. So much of what our lived experience is has become some version of an avatar, a digital personality. The more we let that happen and the less we hold hands physically and commit to communing and organizing and convening in space together, the more we do so at our disservice. And so I do think one of the things I think about here is just more of the physical commitment to being in community with folks, being in rooms with folks, hearing source material live, real time. And part of the travel that I do is in service of that.
Yeah.
Just trying to actually go see people, put my hands on
Yeah.
things, hold on to books and the like, man. And it is increasingly, for me, super important that I see my people and be in rooms to hear and be a part of the conversation, be in the streets with them and the like. So I do think the more I see the digital world becoming some version of Sims for real, the more I push back and try to find ways where I'm physically with folk.
Well, I tell you what, brother, and I think one of the other things too, just an underpinning to what you just said, which I think is critical, is that sense of community and that sense of co-creation within the Black community. Mm-hmm. That's extremely important. And I'm not sure, as opposed to just being users, we need to really become co-creators. Mm-hmm. And if nothing else, man, we now have tools to do that. There aren't any excuses anymore. I'd love to pick this conversation up too. I might even see you tomorrow. I'm not sure. I get in early. I'm heading to Portland to meet with the university.
Bro, I'm literally, when we get done today,
you out?
My bag is already packed.
Okay, I thought you were leaving tomorrow. My bad. Okay.
I rescheduled last night.
Because you knew I was coming?
Yeah, principally because you know what it is. We come around the corner on the last 5 days of last 5 games of my baby boy's soccer career. And so I'm going to catch it. I'm sneaking in to catch a game tonight. Going to surprise him. And then this weekend is
that's beautiful, man.
A lot of stuff going on. I'm a junkie for that stuff, man. So I'm heading to the airport the minute we get done today.
Okay. I ain't mad at that, brother. Well,
you should come to LA this weekend.
I have to be in Portland, but.
So you just said it, duh.
It's okay, but I will do maybe some window shopping for you in your honor.
See.
I know my restrictions and guidelines,
you're off camera right now, and I appreciate you for giving me the plug to this spot. But now I put my boy on, and I'm gonna come home, and he gonna be in some shit that's got my name all over it. I'm not gonna love it.
I would never do that. I would never do that. It may be inspired by Reg, but that's it.
My people, do not let them steal your vision. Do not let this be a get out situation where they steal your eyes because they want to see what you see. Don't fall for all this instant generated video. Be really clear and committed to holding hands, physically connecting, and making sure that we all get free and clear thinking together. This is Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. Again, that's DJ. I'm Reg. We do this thing once a week on Wednesdays. Check us out on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast. Rate us, review us, like us, subscribe. Help us get our weight up. Peace.
See you soon.
Mama made it.